Are you ready for more fun? Yay, theory! I like it. Yay! I'll clap for you, even if nobody else wants to. He. I like it. Alrighty, here we go. Let's just jump in. Okay, what is a pickup or an upbeat? I don't remember. Okay, so you'll need your handy sound innovations book ready to go, because that's where you're going to find a lot of the answers to these questions. A pickup and an upbeat. Okay, so every time we get something new, they use capital letters, bold type, and different color. Okay, so we have tie up here, we have a pickup, that's what we want, staccato, tenuto. Okay, it's always going to be in a box with really different looking words. Okay, so a pickup is a note or notes that occurs before the first complete measure of a piece. Often, the last measure of the piece will be missing the same number of beats as the pickup notes have. I don't know if there's a reason. There probably is. I'm sure there's a very good reason, honestly, why we do that, but that's just the way music works. So if we have a beat 4 here, this measure is going to be missing beat 4, this last measure of the piece. It just is what it is. Okay, so a pickup is a note or notes that occurs before the first complete measure of a piece. There's your definition. Again, if you're looking for a definition, there's a glossary back here on page 47 of your book. Everybody's got this. Pick up a note or notes that occurs before the first complete measure of a piece. And they're a little more succinct. They don't have often the last measure of the piece will be missing the same number of beats as the pickup notes have. So you can get it from the back of the book too. So a pickup it's a note or notes, sometimes there's more than one, that occurs before the first complete measure of a piece. Okay. What is a half step and what does it look like on your instrument? Okay. Looking for those bold blue letters. Okay. A half step is the smallest distance between two notes. So that's what it is. Again, the definitions are in the back. A half step is the smallest distance between two notes. And what does it look like on your instrument? Well, they show you. There's a picture right here. So a half step is the smallest distance between two notes. And here's an F sharp and a G. So it would look like F sharp to G. That's an example. If you want more technicality, on the violin, it's where your fingers are touching, or viola. So like C sharp to D on the A string, that's a half step. B to C on the G string, that's a half step. If you've learned F natural, E to F, fingers are touching, that's a half step. For cello, the way it works is fingers that are next to each other, like first finger to second finger, that's a half step. Second finger to third finger is a half step. Third to fourth is a half step. Okay? And then bass, your notes are even further apart. So from first to second finger, that's your half step. And then from second to fourth is your half step. So if you want to write fingers are touching, if you're a violin or violist, you could do that. If you're a cellist, you could write fingers that are next to each other is a half step. If you don't want to write F sharp to G. I just want you to know where those are on your instrument. The order of sharps in a key signature is always F, C, G, D, B, A, E, B. Slow down, Mrs. Phillips. So we're back to that mnemonic phrase that we used for theory number 1. Whatever you used, you're going to just keep on using. I used fat cats get down, and elephants boogie. So whatever phrase you used for theory 1, you're going to use again, just to keep it consistent and help you remember. Question number 4. Draw the following notes onto the music staff and write in the note names on the lines below. And we talked about this last week. So you've got a chart in the back. If you can't remember, like, oh, I know D2, it looks like this, but I can't remember what the note name is, you can come back here, D string to, oh yeah, that's an F sharp. Okay. Alternatively, you can turn to the page where the notes are introduced. So way back in the beginning, we started remember these days? Those were nice days. That was so long ago. Life was simple and easy. So your D string notes, they're on page 6. A string is page 8. Although it should be noted for the bass players, this is your G string, so G string for basses. And then G string is page 25. Here you go. So page 25 is where you get those notes. So if you can't remember what 3 fingers on the G string is, okay, so G string, here's a picture. Oh, hey, look, they're using all 3 fingers, and there's a 3 over this note. It's a C, it's a C. So, okay, that's a C. And for violins, at least, it's got 1 ledger line underneath. And there we go. Okay. So you're just going to fill all this in. Please make sure that your stems are going the right direction. It does matter. When we write music, we want to make sure that we're not using up more space than we need. So when you're, I'll just use the back of the skin. So when you're writing music, anything that is middle line or higher is going to be stems down. Okay. Stems down. My stems are not long enough. Sorry. There we go. Okay. So anything that's middle line or higher, it's going to be stems down. Anything below the middle line is going to be stems up. Okay? And that goes for, again, any instrument. Piano, flute, violin, anything, guitar. If it's middle line, the note head, or higher, the stem goes down. All right? Because if it didn't, like, you could see, like, this stem would go up and it'd stick up that much further than the staff, and if this one went down, so now this is how much space we're taking instead of this much. Okay, so it does matter. Please make sure your stems go the same direction as your book. All right, creative time. Using notes from your D and or A string, fill in each measure to create your own piece of music. Name your piece and then play it when you're finished. Be sure each measure has 4 beats. That's kind of important. Okay. So let's say I like D string notes. So I'm going to do a couple Ds and then maybe like an F sharp and a G. Okay. So now we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. That measure's done. Please don't put extra notes in there. If you look back and you're like, oh no, I've got like 16 notes in this measure, it's too many. Okay, so here I've got 5. So what you could do is you could make them into 1/8 notes. Okay, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So you have choices. And then here you're going to need something that's 2 beats long and something that's 2 beats long because it's already got a half note in there. So you could do 4/8 notes. You could do 2/4 notes. You can use rests. If you want to use a rest, you can use a rest. Quarter rests are kind of complicated, so just draw like a lightning bolt thing and it'll look rest-ish. Question 6, write in the beats underneath these notes. Be sure to use 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and in every measure. Common time is shorthand for 4/4. Every measure is going to start with beat 1. Okay, here we go. So quarter note gets the beat, right? So that'll just get 1 beat. Dotted half gets 3. We've already got beat 1, so 2, 3, 4 will be our 3 beats we're going to use. 2 and, 3 and, 4 and. Quarter note gets 1, quarter rest gets 1, half note gets 2 beats. Beats 3 and 4. I don't remember what this is. Okay, it's a boxy rest thing, but is it a whole rest or a half rest? I'm so glad you asked. Okay, should I use, well, no, I'll use this. Okay, so music staff. I need scratch paper. So the way that I teach kids to remember is that one rest sits on top of the line, right? So this one's sitting on top, and then the other boxy rest hangs below. Here's how you remember. And it's dorky, but you wouldn't expect anything different. Okay, so this sits on top of the line like a hat sits on top of your head, okay? So if it looks like a hat, it's a half. Hat, half. You kind of get it, right? Okay, so half rest sits on top of the line. And Mrs. Phillips, it does hang below the line, but it hangs below this one. My bad. At least I caught it, kind of. Okay, so the whole rest hangs down below. And the way you remember this is, you're walking along and bloop, you fall into the hole. Insert pity laugh. Okay, so that's how you remember. You're walking along the line, you fall in the hole. The whole rest hangs down, okay? So hole is like a hole in the ground. It's a homophone. See? School. It's all related. Okay. So this one, since this is sitting on top of the line, like a hat sits on top of your head, we remember it's a half rest. Okay. All of that, just to remind you how those work. And then oh, that's not beat 2. We already had beat 2. What comes after 2? Yes, thank you. Beat 3 and 4 and do we have enough beats in the measure? Yep, we're good. Tie glues these notes together, so we'll add 2 beats with 1 beat to get 3 and then a quarter. All right, halfway done. Woohoo! It's so exciting. Name this symbol.